can. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of Craze's Corner. I'm joined by Will here today. We're going to be talking about some running backs. We got
Running
guy might
backs.
be a league winner. We got Chargers backfield that's a mess, and we have a dynasty question. We're going to talk all running backs. How are we doing tonight, Will?
I'm good. It's been a good week.
Yeah, we got some good primetime games coming
Football.
up. Just finished watching Jameis Winston have 600 and something yards at 6 touchdowns. That's my guy right there. Always interesting when Jameis is throwing the ball. You never know what's going to happen. But we'll get right into it. Isaac Guerendo now in line to be the starting running back for the San Francisco 49ers. He's the highest waiver probably of the season. Most people are putting their fab on him. They're using their waiver priority. Do you think it's going to pay off and he's going to be a league winner for these people?
I think if you're in the top of your league and you're in the playoffs, you have to try to get him to keep him from going to somebody else. To me, that would be the strategy. Me, on the other hand, that's at the bottom of the league. I ain't spending a dime on him. I'm not going to the playoffs. I personally think the 49ers are done. They look done in that last game. And, you look at their schedule, Zach, right? We were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. It could be 0-5 and 0-5 and ugly, not just like 0-5, 21-20. It could be 35-10 every week going forward.
Yeah, definitely could be. Looking at Guerendo, he's had a couple opportunities. His one game he played against Dallas, 14 carries, 85 yards, a touchdown, 4 targets, and 3 receptions. To me, in these games coming up, what's going to be his value if he can stay healthy is that receiving work. If he can get those balls out of the backfield, I think he can be a game winner because they're going to be trailing. They're playing a lot of good offenses like Miami, Detroit. They have some divisional games as well. So it's definitely going to be time where they're going to have to be throwing the ball. And if they do look his way like they have when he's been on the field, then I think that could be a positive for his fantasy value. Will the touchdowns be there? That is a different story. If this offense, with already missing Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey is now gone. Are they going to be able to sustain that? Are they going to be in positions that the defense is going to put them in to have short fields? We'll see about that. But I do like Guerendo. I tried to get him in a couple leagues, and people were spending almost 100% of their fab.
And I get that. I get that if you're close to winning the championship. I get it. You don't want to be looking at yourself, I should just spent the 100 fab and I lost because I didn't go get him. I think if you're in the middle of the pack or if you're kind of already done and look at the next year, it's a short-term rental at best. I don't know what his value will be next year in Dynasty leagues or the fall games.
Yeah, I think redraft, it makes more sense to pick him up than Dynasty. Yeah. I mean, I guess see what you have if he's probably already on a roster. But yeah, we'll see how that turns out in San Francisco. Another backfield with some questions now that J.K. Dobbins is down. The Los Angeles Chargers, last week, Gus Edwards did nothing with majority of the snaps. Hassan Haskins had his fumble, which cost them the ball. And then Kimani Vidal in 23% of the snaps. It's really just a timeshare right now. And on a team where we really don't know who it's going to be. They like Gus, but obviously Vidal gets his work, and so does Hassan Haskins. So for me, I'm not comfortable starting any of these guys. Do you feel the same until J.K. Dobbins comes back?
Yeah, and if I had to start somebody, I would choose Edwards because I think he's the guy that'll get the touchdown opportunities in this offense if there are any. The other guys are, it's a risk.
Yeah, I think Haskins' fumble definitely hurt him last week in that short yardage situation that brought him in. So if Gus Edwards does get all that work, they do have some more favorable matchups coming up against Tampa Bay, Denver, and New England. So those are going to be your championship weeks. So maybe he scores. If you really need a running back, you can put him in due to injuries, and he might get you a touchdown, but he's going to be touchdown or bust, in my opinion. So in Dynasty, Vidal is probably your best bet, but at redraft for this year, I think Gus Edwards is the direction you want to go. And the main question here, we have a Dynasty question about some young running backs, rookie running backs whose starters have been signed to extensions. So we got Trey Benson, Jonathan Brooks. Who would you rather have? Trey Benson, has James Conner ahead of him for the next 2 years because he just signed his extension. Jonathan Brooks has Chuba Hubbard ahead of him for essentially both of these guys. We're going to assume their starters are there for the rest of their rookie contract because I think Chuba's is a 4-year contract. James Cook's is a 2-year extension, so maybe Benson will have 1 year without James Conner. But both of these guys are now playing behind these guys for at least a bit. Maybe they won't be playing behind. It'll be a 1A, 1B type split. But definitely hurts their dynasty value if you thought, maybe Jonathan Brooks was going to be by far the RB1 next year. Same with Benson. It's definitely not going to happen. So if these two guys who would you prefer to have in a dynasty leagues? Brooks or Benson?
Brooks. And look, I was really high on Benson in this draft, but Cardinals like Connor. They just do. So, and he's a workhorse, right? He plays. And so, at least for this season and next season, now he is getting older. So, does he really get through that whole contract? Is this year, the rest of this year, next year? And so, I just don't know. Like, I feel more comfortable that Brooks will get the RB1 position before Benson does.
Yeah, looking at snap shares for Benson, he's been around 16% the past 2 weeks, getting 4 carries. He just kind of comes in to spell James Conner. The thing you get with Brooks is I think they're going to end up doing kind of similar to what Detroit has done with Montgomery and Gibbs. And I think it's going what I've seen so far from the Panthers is this kind of drive basis. So he'll get a drive, and then Chuba will get a drive. And obviously Brooks is still working up. He had 21% snap share last week. But he did have 3 receptions as well, so they kind of use him in that Jahmyr Gibbs type role. So once I think he's fully integrated into the offense, I think it'll be like a one drive, another drive, and then Brooks will come in for third downs. Chuba will come in for maybe the short yardage stuff. But for me, I would also rather have Brooks. I am a Panthers fan, so I didn't want to come off as too biased, but I like what I've seen from him so far, and the team did trade up to get him in the draft. So even though they did extend Chuba, I do think that there is opportunity for him, and I think that they want to have that David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs situation is what I think they're ideally going for. So,
and I know some people say, well, Chuba got 4 years, Connor got 2. I just think that the Carolina at some point goes all in with their young, and they have a good young core, right? I mean, they do. They have a good young core at the skill positions, and Brooks is going to be a part of that. So I'm going with Brooks. I don't care.
Carolina.
Hubbard,
with Bryce Young. Bryce Young's looked great the past couple of weeks against the Chiefs. He's one of only 3 quarterbacks to put up 25 points this year against them. With Allen and Burrow, good company to be in. Bryce Young over the past 2 weeks leads the NFL.
Oh, Bryce
throws.
Every dynasty owner that owns Bryce,
that's me. I own him in every dynasty league.
It's like, okay, I didn't make a mistake drafting him.
No, I traded for him in another dynasty league this year. I traded the pick that took Bo Nix for Bryce Young, and it's working out well for both sides. But I would have been extremely upset if it didn't work out for me and it wasn't Bryce Young. But Bryce Young was good. The offense going forward, they'll probably add a wide receiver 1 next year, which should bring some more scoring opportunities. And I think the running back room is pretty settled, but with Canales there, they're going to run the ball. They're going to get the running backs involved. And I think Brooks profiles to be the pass catcher. And with Bryce Young there, he's still going to need those checkdowns. So give me Jonathan Brooks in the Dynasty League. And I'm not as happy as I was before the Chuba extension, but I still think it's going to be a valuable Dynasty asset considering his age. We just broke down 3 running back problems, Guerendo, the Chargers, and then a nice Dynasty debate. Let us know in the comments, guys. Would you guys rather have Would you rather have Jonathan Brooks or Trey Benson? And give us a little bit of an explanation. Thanks, Will, for joining me. Make sure you guys check out the Media app, amazing app. You can even answer the question on the Media app if you want. There we go. Have a good night, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you again next week.
See you next week.